All right. Hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. This is a little bit of a surprise live video, so I'm super pumped about it. Now, as like a lot of you know, I don't actually do interviews, or I've said basically that I'm not doing any interviews, let alone interviewing people for 2023, mostly because I want to focus on mom vibes. But I will say that I recently got connected to this very interesting starseed, and he's got a lot to say. Now, I'm going to get you to introduce yourself, Chris, but a little background is we connected, not too long ago. I know that you've been kind of watching my content for a while, and I watched an interview that you did, and you were talking about some really interesting stuff, including DNA activations, awakening, ascension, reptilians, and how bees, okay, have a big part in activating our DNA and helping us ascend to the highest vibration. And I think that it's absolutely incredible. And you actually sent me some of your product. You sent me the honeycomb, which was delicious, by the way, raw, and then also raw bee pollen. And honestly, since taking it, I've done some fasting and detoxing and have incorporated it into my routine, and I feel better. There's a lot of things, that could contribute to that, but my hair is growing like crazy. My nails are growing like crazy. I just feel better. Overall, I feel even more like meditative. Like I said, I've kind of been switching up the routine a little bit, but your products are a big part of that. So we're going to really talk about how bees enhance the vibration of the planet and your own spiritual journey getting to this place. So, we've got about 45 minutes to kind of pack in a lot of information. So just kind of briefly introduce yourself to the community and let people know, how did you get here on your journey, and what has your own spiritual awakening been like? And I know before you begin, you just came back. You're a little bit jet lagged. You just came back from an incredible trip around Europe, and you even went to this really intense cave system looking for inner earth, which is so badass. So yeah, you've got a lot of stuff to share, but essentially, what has your journey been like? How did you get here? What's your understanding of ascension? Kind of bring us into your world a little bit.
Hi, Liz. I'm Christopher Von Dom, local beekeeper and honey guy down here in South Florida. And my bees are very spiritual, as you may have heard me speak about in another video. And my journey started some time ago. It started, of course, at birth, but I really started to wake up around 10 years ago when, it was brought to my attention that maybe in other countries there might be less propaganda. Like maybe in Russia, some circles say that it's common knowledge, which kind of surprised me, that it was not terrorists or Osama bin Laden that took down the Trade Center. It was some other job. And first I got angry, like, how could this happen to its own people? And then after I got over it through my research, it's like, okay, that's the thing. Then the other thing that kind of shook me up a little bit was that the moon is not a real moon. It's a metal ball, and they put it there some thousands of years ago for whatever purpose they did, possibly to stabilize the environment because of catastrophes on the planet. And it's hollow, it's made of metal. And then I was like, well, that can't be. And then they said, no, when the Apollo, took off and they dropped the boosters, it ended up ringing like a bell. And they said, even NASA said, this is not a natural body. So then the next time they went up, they put a seismograph sometime, where the exit point was going to be. And then they took off, and they actually shot the boosters down as hard as they could. And it actually rang like a bell, a metal bell, for 3 days straight. I had to go online. I had to find the seismograph report. I had to, I had to look all this stuff up myself. And it was quite astonishing and amazing. So that kind of began my journey. So ever since I got this knowledge approximately 10 years ago, and they confirmed it, I got just deeper and deeper into, and then I started doing the bees and the honey, and realizing I got to download that the bees are actually the highest frequency animal on the planet, which is actually how they fly, from the frequency, not their wings, which is kind of an amazing little topic in itself. Before they take off, they start vibrating like, and they start levitating. They just use their wings to steer. Then they make an energetic, their buzzing sound that creates an energetic field around them. They basically float from flower to flower. I call it organic quantum mechanics. So it's quite fascinating. And then, the bees are in a sense, ahead of humans spiritually, because they're already in the hive mind. And we're on this, humans rather, on a spiritual aspect, are not quite there yet. So here, we'll just pan over here real quick. Here's a beehive in the backyard where I just moved to not too long ago. And, one bee only has typically so much consciousness, or so much intelligence rather. But the whole hive together of approximately 60,000 bees has most likely more intelligence than a human, because they're already in the hive mind. So we'll step back from the bees a little bit. So for years, I had to, in my last place I was living, mow the grass with a bee suit, because the bees would basically light me up, because they don't like the vibration of the ground. And then it came to me, why don't I ask the bees permission? So I walked over to the bees, put my hands on the bees, I said, little bees, can I please mow the grass? They're like, okay, but hurry up, in their own way. So I had so much trust and faith, I didn't even put a bee suit on. And I mowed almost the whole yard with no bee suit, not getting stung one time. And then they give you a little headbutts. Okay, it's time to, slow down. A little bit, I have a little bit more. Like, okay, but hurry up. And then I do a little bit more. I went through that a little bit, but I got almost all of it done. Like, I would say over 95%. So that was cool. And then, it got, like, I think you were talking about some, recent trips that I went on. So I went through some, personal stuff earlier this year, like the whole divorce thing, and got, on that. And then, so I said to myself, it was my birthday in August, August 13th. And I said, well, you know what? I would like to do that. I just moved to this place. I don't really know anybody around here. And I said, I want to go on a trip, and I don't have anybody to go with. So I'll just go by myself. So, and I've been wanting to go to this cave system for a long time in Kentucky. It's a national park. I love the national park, love nature, because, grounding, it's connecting and all of that, very spiritual. And the reports that I've been reading for years is that inside of the Mammoth Cave National Park cave system in Kentucky, there is an entrance somewhere to the highly advanced inner Earth tribes, which I knew was most likely blocked off because they're not really comfortable with these, what they maybe think are aggressive surface-dwelling humans coming down and basically getting in their space. But I wanted to go get the vibe and get the feel. So I get to this cave system. It's apparently what the masses report is the longest known cave system in the world. As of now, they've mapped out what they say is 426 miles. But through my research, to get down to the inner Earth tribes, it's probably 800 to 1,200 miles. After like maybe 400 or so, the gravity switches from one direction to the other, which is very interesting in itself. But I figured I would want to go around. I went about 10 miles underground in these caves. It just really cool vibes. Really enjoyed it. And then I was on this long tour, like it was like a 4 or 5 hour tour. We were deep into the caves. We did it almost 400 feet deep. It got down in the 40s down there in August, which was, it was very cold actually. But it was interesting. I said to the park ranger, I said, is there any pictographs that maybe any Native Americans may have done? And he's like, you just so mentioned there's a rock that we just passed not too long ago that there is stick figures with spirals on it. And the night before, around the campfire at my little cabin where I was camping, I called my buddy from Italy and I said, I'm at this cave. He's like, oh, that's so great that you're traveling alone, because he's a very intuitive guy. So he explained to me that traveling alone actually, it solidifies your spiritual warriorness. So it strengthens you in such a way that you would not have gotten those particular benefits by traveling with someone else. So there's less distractions, there's more internal, you're focusing more within, and then you solidify that foundation. So that kind of confirmed what I was doing, which I was grateful for that. And he's like, and in the caves, there's portal energy. I was like, oh, really? So then as I said this, my response to the ranger, who said, there's these
stick figures painted on the wall with these spirals. I said, that sounds like a portal to me. And then the two rangers agreed 100% that sounds like a portal. And
Wow.
I think that was so interesting. And then the next day I was at a crystal shop, and I didn't realize how sore you get from cave exploring. My whole body from head to toe was sore from doing like 12 miles, 12 hours or 14 hours of hiking underground. And
Wow.
anyway, so I didn't feel like going any more caves at that moment. So I went to this crystal shop, and I told them the story of what the Rangers told me with the spiral and the stick figures on the rock. And they said, it's funny that you say that. Down the road over here, there's like a waterfall, and there's other stick figures with a spiral. And I said, it sounds like portal. They said 100%. So anyway, I find this to be so interesting. And the portals technology and abilities are just so intriguing and fascinating. And through my more recent research, it seems that if we raise our frequency enough, because as we know, frequency is like of the utmost importance, to raise our frequency, keep our frequency high, be around high frequency people, do high frequency things, want to continuously raising our frequency, helping as many people, grounding, so many things go into this, hugging trees, being around bees, being around animals, eating the high frequency bee products, which are the highest frequency products in the world, because bees are the highest frequency animal in the world, which is beautiful and totally expanding within itself, that we are able to tap into, this other stuff, where most humans reportedly only use 2 to 4% of your brain power. This helps you to tap into the other 96%, especially eating the bee pollen concentrate that you spoke of. Even people report back to us that they don't get sick anymore. I haven't been sick in years. They're able to astral travel further. They're able to like meditate deeper. They're able to fast longer because it suppresses your appetite, makes you not hungry. As you know, grows your hair. You have more energy. It's an natural steroid, it's an antibiotic. I mean, it has 726 nutrients. Nothing even comes close. And the way that, we liquefy it and sell it in liquid form, that way you get 100% absorption rather than the granule form that most nutrition stores sell. Your stomach acids typically can't break that down. You typically only get like less than 10% absorption. So it's a huge difference in itself, which makes it 100% bioavailable, which that's really the only way to go. And then we make even super concentrated versions of that. Then we make versions that we mix with royal jelly and propolis. We call it like a triple X. It's phenomenal. And then, well, the video that you saw, I think you may have touched on some of this stuff, but they didn't like it because I guess the people that were putting that video on, I said to them, some of these bottles that we sell are very expensive, and we sell it to very famous people that you would know their name if I mention it, but I'm not going to mention it. And then they asked me, well, I have one question, because I guess I could kind of feel where they were going, not at that moment, but in the direction, not exactly in the direction. And they said, well, does Donald Trump buy this product from you? And I said, well, no, he particularly doesn't. Because where I'm at now is actually not far from Mar-a-Lago. It's like, I just drove by there a few minutes ago. It's like right down the road. Which is actually why I moved here to our other friends at this.
So I have a bunch of questions actually.
Okay, maybe let's just go there. Let's just go there. Because I don't want
Yeah, so I mean, okay, there's an intuitive question that comes up. Because and I want to talk about even the functionality of bees, and like I have a lot. Okay. So my first question is, do you think that bees, because from what you've channeled, what you've kind of discovered is that bees, from what you say, are the highest frequency animal, insect, right, on the planet. Do you think that bees were actually potentially planted here as a technology by extraterrestrials? Or do you think that there's a link?
No, I mean, because, we do farmers markets throughout this area, and a customer, so I'm, intuitive also. And sometimes you get the sense that some people are not from here. They're just they're galactic travelers, and you can figure that out when you talk to them, especially if there's a lot of internal telepathic communications that you can do. And then they were like, we had such a deep connection, me and this couple, that they would come back. We said, we want to actually help you to help the people more, because this is a very special mission that we do. Because like you said, it's part of the ascension. It's part of the DNA activation. It's part of the people that don't get sick anymore. That's kind of the old way. It's just part of the expansion of the light. It's all connected. So then these people, this couple would just have telepathic communications to people walking by in the farmer's market. No word was said. They would hand them the jar, people would give us the money, and they'd leave. I said, you know them? They're like, no, never met them before. I said, it was like, it was very interesting. And then they said, look, we've been to many places. And they said, you have the best honey in the galaxy. So I took that as like a huge compliment. Even my other buddy spent the summer in Europe, and he said he actually did like a honey tasting of like all the honeys throughout Europe. He's like, your honey is better than everything in Europe. He said there's only one that compared that came close. It was a white honey from Sweden. And he said that was the only thing that came a little bit close, but nothing else was nothing. He said, you're the best one. So I'm very grateful. So it's also, of course, it's the quality, the time. We don't feed them sugar water, the energy that we put in, the love, the vibes get into the honey. And we're so grateful. And we look at it like not even work. Like, it's just like we're doing like this mission. And it's just I'm so grateful. Like there's really no words to say.
Absolutely.
So
also like I heard once, but correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't know much about bees, but I heard that proportionately they should actually, like, within the laws of physics, they shouldn't be able to fly, right? Because they're too big for their wings.
Absolutely. I mean, the perfect example of that is the bumblebee, which is kind of like, a big, some people might say fat bee, and mathematically speaking, their wing size is far too small to propel a creature of this weight. So, I mean, that's a perfect example of this, the organic quantum mechanics, or their vibrational frequency, elevating them, into flight, propelling them, and then them going from there. Yeah. It's pretty amazing. I mean, it's so amazing.
So do you think that we would be able to, so there are bee products, which are great, and we can consume them and raise our frequency that way and activate our DNA and all the things. Sure. But do you also think that there's like, it just comes to mind, right? But do you think that there's a way that we could also utilize the bee's frequency without the products? Like, do you think that there could be a way that we, like, how do I put this? We record the sound of bees and that frequency could affect us?
Absolutely. So, that can definitely help us. I mean, like, there's even some people, like, I know it's more popular in Europe, especially Eastern Europe, where I was visiting to actually meet with many different beekeepers and learn. I was there to learn from them different things and also to teach them because they didn't really understand the spiritual aspect of it. And for me, that's first and foremost, is the spiritual part of it. Although they have a technology where it's kind of interesting. It's hard to find. You might find them in America or Canada a little bit, but it's mostly more common in Eastern Europe, where it's like a bed and you lay in it, and then there's beehives actually underneath it. So you actually sleep on top of the beehives, so you get the physical vibes through like a piece of wood that's separating the beehives and where you're sleeping. And then you're also able to breathe this smell, which is another European technology where they can hook a hose into a beehive. The other hose you actually breathe, which has filters in it, so you don't breathe bees, but you breathe basically the energy from the beehive, and it's supposed to cure pretty much anything it's just resolve. Yes, so, I know.
What is their understanding of sleeping on bees? Like, how did they describe that to you? Like, what are the benefits?
Well, so many things. So the one guy that I know, a Ukrainian beekeeper from the north part of the state, who actually is kind of an older guy in the 70s, and he's taught me so much. He actually started building this, and then, unfortunately, he lost a relatively young son, and he went into a fairly deep depression. And then he said, I have to lay in this bed. He intuitively knew that he had to lay in it like every day for the night for a month. So it even helped him to snap out of his depression and get back, psychologically back on the horse again and start moving forward, so it helps so many things. I mean, you raise your frequency, which basically when you raise frequency, you can't be sick anymore, which also unblocks your blockages, opens your meridians, opens your chakras. I mean, pretty much everything. It's almost like endless or unlimited.
So another good question too is like, so, and actually now I remember the reason why you reached out to me is because you watched a video where I said that for pretty much a month straight, I was obsessed with eating honeycomb. It was so bizarre, right? I don't know why, but, and this was, I think it was right before I got pregnant, that I just felt the need to like, I was obsessed with honeycomb. Anyway, so I've had honey kind of in and out of my life. I've never really been a big honey fan, but it's, it's been around. But whenever I do get honey, it's usually always local and it's always raw. And I don't know why, but intuitively, I know that I needed the raw versus, I don't know, whatever you get in the store. So can you explain the difference between the benefits really of raw honey versus, I guess, filtered honey?
Yeah, well, I'm so glad that you asked that because, I think we did. It was around that time that we did connect because I did hear that you were getting called, and obviously one of the most intuitive people that I know. So your intuition said, this is good for me, and I could get some sort of benefit. And then I reached out and we connected, and I'm so grateful that you're getting to experience the benefits, and it's really special. And yeah, I mean, like the raw. So you gotta be careful where you get it from, because even like in the store, a lot of these like organic stores, they'll stay raw, and because there's no really regulation. So the legal pasteurization level is 175 degrees. So they think as long as they keep it under 175 degrees, they can legally put the word raw on the label, but it's really not. And I like to sample different people's honey. So sometimes I'll go into like really expensive organic stores and I'll sample it. And I'm like, oh my God, it's like not even real honey. They like put other stuff in it to because there's nobody really checks it. There's even companies that some people put corn syrup in it to expand it to make more money, and no one checks it. And anyway, so you have to really, the point of this, you have to be careful where you get it from, your source. Like you should know that they're doing things the right way, that they're either doing it themselves or sourcing it like from the top source. There's never any heat added. Through my research and understanding of it, when you get above 110, above 100 degrees, definitely above 110 Fahrenheit, it starts to affect the live enzymes, the antibacterial properties, the anti-inflammatory properties, the vitamins, the minerals, all the nutrients that are in it. So when you get to like the pasteurization level, everything's gone, but you start losing some of the nutrients and benefits above 100, definitely above 110, the nutrients decline from there. So, I mean, that's why, some of our honeys and bee pollen concentrate, it is more expensive because we do take our time. We don't add any heat. We don't add sugar water, so that we don't really produce as much. So we sell it for more money, but we do quality, not quantity. And it kind of works out that way. We don't really sell it in stores. I mean, we do ship it online all over the world. Within the continental U.S., it's free shipping, but anywhere outside the U.S., we still ship it. But then you pay for the shipping, and we sell it in farmers markets, mostly in Florida, and because we don't have enough quantity to sell it in all the stores, because it's sort of like a quality is more important than the quantity type situation, which is kind of like a thing maybe through propaganda in this country. Maybe in the 1960s, they created this plastic honey bear that they sell, that they're sold in many supermarkets, and they pasteurize it so it'll never really crystallize, so it'll always come out very easily. And then they've also said, I guess, at least in America, that this it's just for a sweetener, or it's just for when you get sick. Although, through my recent understanding of Eastern European culture, you do it every day. So they raise your, it's actually an important part of their culture, because you're able to not really get sick anymore, or as often in some cases, because some people do other things that could create that. But you're able to be overall much healthier, and and more grounded and more connected to Earth, and just it's really special. So he's the raw way to go.
And then I have another like follow-up thing. So, we were just chatting and you're like, oh my goodness, you've impacted me so much. Like pick anything you want from the website, right? Which is awesome. So intuitively, I was super drawn to the bee pollen. I've never even heard of bee pollen before, right? Like I said, I'm not really I don't know much.
Right. You said that. That's right. That's right.
And then, so in the same email, I said, hey, I'm really drawn to the bee pollen, but also I'm really open to whatever you suggest that has the best nutrient density. And you emailed me back and said, actually, as a matter of fact, the bee pollen is the number one, though it's the way to go. So I don't really know much about bee pollen. I don't think a lot of people know anything about bee pollen.
Oh, okay.
Can you just like educate us a little bit on like first of all, how do you even get it? Okay. And secondly, like what's in it? Like like nutrient wise, like what are the benefits of bee pollen basically?
Okay. So I'm so glad you asked. This is a very great question that you're right. Most people, especially in this day and age in America and even in Canada as much, they don't really know. Here, we'll walk over to the bees just for a second. So the bees will visit the flowers. They might go like all day to the center of flowers, flower to flower to flower to flower, and they'll get a little pollen. Every flower they visit, stuck on their back of their legs, and they'll bring it in. They'll bring it into the beehive, through the entrance, and then we'll put like a little piece on the bottom here that when they go in, it sort of collects it off their feet, not from all the bees, but it does collect it off the bottom of their feet. It falls into a pan. And then, we'll have to take it to, put it in the cooler and let it dry out for a couple of weeks. And then what we do is it's a pulverization process with no heat, of course. And then we vacuum it. So if you just eat the granule by itself, typically your stomach acids cannot fully break it down. So you get like less than 10% absorption rather. And then after we put it through the vacuum, which actually explodes the cells, it opens it up. The vacuum is the whole thing. Then you get 100% absorption compared to less than 10%. So it's a huge difference. And then we add a little bit of the way we do it is the less sweet gallberry honey, which actually has the most live enzymes, best for digestion. So we figured that is the best one to mix with it. So it's 100% bioavailable. It's a liquid form. Basically, keep it under your tongue till it dissolves in the morning, usually because it gives you energy. And it's so not only does it give us energy and strength, but it's 40% protein. It has more protein than meat, fish, steak, or eggs, and more amino acids. I mean, like I've seen scientific reports that say there's enough protein in 50 grams of bee pollen for a full-grown man for his daily protein intake. So most people have no idea about this. And it gives us endurance. So we keep going. We don't get tired. A lot of professional athletes get this product from us. People just go to the gym or run. They take it for pre-workout because it gives you energy, extra endurance. It opens you up. Like I run more. I don't even get out of breath anymore. I can run as long as I want. I grow more hair. It's a natural steroid also. I have more energy and I can think faster because it opens up your brain and it helps you to access parts that you're not normally accessing. So it's and it raises your frequency. So when you reach frequency, you don't really get sick anymore. It also has not only give you energy, strength, endurance, it has the highest amount of vitamins. So if you take this product every day, you don't really need to take any more vitamins. So you have to save money in the vitamin department. And it also has the highest level of something called rutin, which is rutin, strengthens the capillaries of our heart, makes our heart very strong, puts blood to our lungs, we breathe better, blood to our brain, we think better. And it improves memory, learning speed, balances anything out of balance. So blood sugar's high, lowers it. Cholesterol's high, lowers it. Blood pressure high, lowers it. Things are low, raises it, not a stabilizer. To help you glow on our face, alleviate wrinkles, help weight loss, suppresses appetite, while we gain lean body muscle. And it does a full detox. Takes everything bad out of the body. Toxins, pesticides, radiation, neurotoxins, heavy metals, 5G, radiation, chemtrails, any possible harmful remnants of injections. So it's pretty it's pretty special. Like I said, it is a natural steroid. It's also a natural antibiotic. So it keeps your immune system high. It has 726 nutrients. Like I said, while it's the highest frequency food on the planet, nothing even comes close. It is, it's absolutely amazing. So when you raise your frequency, like I said, not only do you not get sick, you raise your consciousness. So when you raise your consciousness, like we were alluding to, you're able to more easily tap into other realms. You're able to, some people just claim that they're able to meditate more, astral travel faster, do more easily communicate telepathically, be more easily precognitive. They can see things more. They're just more aware. They're just more conscious. So it's, maybe telekinesis, they're more easily to tap into these things, which most people think are just science fiction. But as you know, it's real, including the remote viewing. You start practicing it, but it takes practice every day. Like your brain is a muscle. People go to the gym, they exercise. You got to kind of get it really going. You got to exercise your brain muscle. do like a psionic, exercise.
So,
It's interesting. There's
so
different
okay.
classes that you can take to expand on that too. So, on a side note.
Two quick questions on that, and then I want to move to like the hive mind, because I think that that's really interesting, and I want to also touch upon your belief with reptilians too, and like transmuting them. I think that that's really awesome. So I want to touch on that. But with the pollen and the honey, I believe you sent me an information sheet with the products, and then one of the things said, don't touch it with metal. Which is a good note to like a metal spoon, right? So, I mean, immediately I want to ingest it and put a metal spoon in there. So why shouldn't you be using metal when you're scooping the product? And also, how much should you, because I don't even know myself, how much should we be ingesting per day of either the honey, the raw honey, or the bee pollen?
Well, I mean, they're both on an individual basis, although there's kind of some like baselines. So honey, you can do like, teaspoon, tablespoon, but some people feel like at that moment or the need to do like
more,
a whole small jar. Like if they're fighting something off, then, some people are just like, I need to drink this bottle of honey right now, and then I won't get sick. And so it's different from day to day, moment to moment, person to person. But your body will tell you. I mean, we're all our own best doctor. We're all, intuitive. We all, so it's pretty special. The pollen, like on average, the starting point is like a teaspoon. Although some people, for them, are sensitive, meaning sensitive in like many realms. I don't know if you ever talked about that with you personally, but so some people just do like a half a teaspoon or a third of a teaspoon or a quarter of a teaspoon, because if you take too much, it could be like an overload of like vitamins and minerals because it's concentrated. So that could mean like if you did eat too much for you, you could actually get headaches or dizzy, which is like a sign. They say, hey, this is too much for me. I don't need, your body's saying I don't need this much. And then you would just cut it back in half, and then you'd be better. And if you do it every day for like a month, then you could amp it up to like either double what you were taking or like a tablespoon if you were doing a teaspoon. But that's really our max. We don't need to overdo it. I mean, if you're ever like fighting something off, you could do like a little bit in the morning, a little bit in the afternoon, but you don't want to do it too late at night unless you got plans, because it can give you some energy, because it is like a natural steroid, and it does do that. So what was the other part of your question again? The
metal.
Oh yeah, so I'm glad you brought that up. So through one of my more recent downloads, everything is an energy field. Everything is a certain frequency, including you, me, the bees, a metal spoon, the honey or the bee pollen. Everything has its own frequency. So the metal has its lower frequency because it's more dense and hard, and then the pollen or the honey has a higher frequency from the bee. And so when you touch the honey or the liquid pollen to a metal spoon, the two energetic fields, I guess you could say, meld or marry. So for that like brief moment, the metal spoon will actually raise its frequency, and then the honey or the pollen, because it touched the field, energetic field of the spoon, will lower the frequency of the honey or pollen. But you won't be able to get like the full benefit. So once I got this download, I found on Amazon you can get wooden spoons and knives and forks for like $17, like a whole set. You just go get that, and then neutral, because most people don't go out and get gold silverware because that's a little bit pricey, and this is inert metal. So the less expensive is just to get the $17 Amazon, or whatever you want to call it. And you did ask another question. What else?
Those were my two main ones, just about kind of interacting with it. But yeah, let's move over to your understanding of reptilians, which I think is interesting. I mean, I know that you mentioned to me, and we believe the same on, I think our beliefs align a lot. And this is why I really wanted to have you on, is because I just felt like you had some light codes to share. And I already feel the light codes that you're bringing. So thank you so much.
Hey, it's my pleasure. This is part of my mission. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. That's why I moved to this area. And this area is like, it's an infestation. But
so
in
the
a
question,
nutshell, but that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here.
So the question would be, and I know that we talked about, and you're like, I know that not every reptilian is bad, right? So that's
what I was. You beat to it. It's an
Yep.
individual basis, just like humans. You know, there's good humans, bad humans,
Exactly.
and same with all species: reptilians,
Yeah.
Arcturians,
Yep.
Pleiadians, Anunnaki. There's same. It's good and
Good
bad.
and bad. Exactly.
Yeah. Yes.
And so just kind of describe for people, I guess, how you think that bees, the frequency, and then the products of bees can actually help reptilians transmute. Like give a little overview on that.
Okay. So I have a buddy that helps us. He can see shapeshifters.
Oh,
So when you get to a certain level of frequency,
yep.
So I guess most humans are in 3D, most reptilians are in 4D.
Yes.
When you start to get 5D and beyond, you get to a higher frequential realm than them, and then you can see them through their shape shifting, whatever, however means they did it in that individual. You can see it. So he basically said, in his own way, they're not all bad. He said it depends on your heart. Some have a good heart, and that's really what it's all about. If you have a good heart, you're good. Yes, a lot of them are aggressive, a lot of them are controlling and manipulative and other things. But so the point of this is that the honey, the bees, the bee products. Oh, we didn't talk even about the bee sting therapy, which is completely like, shot down by propaganda in this country. But the venom activates something normally dormant immune system, very strong, helps eliminate, cancer, HIV, Lyme disease, arthritis, helps it, Parkinson's, MS. I mean, it's amazing. There's stuff in royal jelly, there's stuff in the venom. The scientists haven't even figured out what it is yet. Anyway, bees are real special. So not only reptilians, but yes, reptilians, because they're they are obviously here before humans. Then we came along. They were here when the dinosaurs were here, and they think it's their planet because they were here first. Which I see their side of it. Although, if I came to a land and they were here, I would like, and somebody else came after me, I would welcome them. I would be a good neighbor. That's me. So then I've encountered some that my buddy said, these are them. And I said, listen, guys, I'm a good neighbor. And then they know that I do have like a spiritual basis and I'm not like the average human or starseed. And they know that I can, take things to another level. And they said, well, so these, at least individuals, this one individual in particular said, I personally am choosing to take things to this other level also. So I know that they're not all there. In a negative connotation. Although the point of this is when we ingest the bee products, it can help to raise our frequency. So we no longer feel the, need to control or manipulate, or we don't get angry. We're not as aggressive. We're more peaceful. Like we can meditate deeper. We're more loving because in my experience, the higher I raise my frequency, the more grateful I am. The more grateful I am, the more loving that I can just naturally be with myself and everyone around me. So
immediately it reminds me of there's a lot of people who either have been in relationships with reptilians, like reptilian shapeshifters, who are very manipulative and controlling. And then there are people who are still in relationships right now with a shapeshifter who's manipulative and controlling. So my mind immediately goes to get the highest vibrational bee products and just put it in the food of your partner to help raise their vibration. I mean, is that wrong?
No, you know what? Since to your point, Liz, it might actually
help
raise the vibe of their marriage. It might save their marriage. Because I think I heard what you were talking about in one of your recent videos. If one of the partners is waking up or raising their frequency and one is not, either the other one raises their frequency to meet them and say, but you got to have that conversation. Say, look, I am doing this. Either you get on board with this or I got to walk away because it's not good for me to stay in with someone who's lower vibe. I want to create, I want to expand, I want to love, I want to be at peace, I want to be happy, I want to be healthy, I want to be free, basically, in every way. And I want people around me that want the same thing. So it's really important, to be around the right people that, are uplifting. They are loving and, not controlling, and they're free. And, we we're going to the realm of freedom. Like I think we may have talked about, like there's a photon belt, in the galaxy, and the solar system's moving through it. So everything's starting to raise its frequency, raise its vibration, everything vibrating faster. So there's like that's facilitating the ascension. The bees are a major part of the ascension because they're higher frequency. They're an example of us to get into the hive mind. They're kind of like our example. They're like a perfect example for us. Eating their product help us raise our frequency of the reptilians. Because like I said, there are shape-shifting reptilians that buy our products and they say, this is helping us. And not just reptilians, Arcturians, people from all over species, that through my downloads are them. And anyway, it's interesting though. And they're benefiting and they're grateful. And some of them, and then there's the other ones that when they're at a farmer's market, they won't come near the booth. And they're like, and they're like staring you down from like very far away. Yeah. But when you figure out how to deal with that. And they can't hurt you because when you raise your vibe enough, nobody can hurt you. So it's pretty special. So that's another important reason to raise your vibe. Not only you're healthier, you're happier, you live longer, but no one can hurt you.
Yeah.
So, and as you know, you create your own reality. So you put it in your mind, and that's what you get. You picture it, and that's what comes. So it's like so beautiful. It's such a special time that we chose to be alive on this planet at this time. I mean, like, so grateful. It is like amazing. Like we're on special missions, and like so you and I have parallel missions, and we're helping people in our own way, which is very important at this time on this planet. We have very important missions, and I talk to the people that help us, and I have to say, guys and girls, this is really important to like get these products, the medicine, the bee pollen concentrate into the people to raise their vibe, raise their frequency. And then they can help people, and it just goes on from there, just like what you're doing. Because when we have these conversations, just by saying the words, it activates the DNA. And just by the tone that we use, like there's a guy, it's kind of an interesting, the same guy that can see, he'll like people that are walking by the booth, he'll just go like with a sample stick, ta-da, and then won't even say the words. Our friend with the dreads, and like just like the way that the tones that it uses, it's like it's a raising like frequency, DNA activating tone that helps them, and it puts a smile on their face, like, oh, okay, I'll put some money, and then when you get even uplifted even more, and then they come in, let's try even more, then they get uplifted, even they try to be on, they get uplifted even more. So it's like really a special mission that we're on, and the bees are a huge part of it. And then get to the point with our own frequential journey that then your light becomes so bright, as you know, not only to become a target, but they can't hurt you. But just by you walking or driving without even saying one word, your light and your frequency goes out such a distance, up, down. You're activating them just by your presence. So it gets to that point where you just have to go wherever you're called to go, whether, your mind says, oh, I'm late, or I got this red light, or, I'm at an appointment for something that I don't want to be at. But your presence, just if you never say a word, is affecting everyone and everything, no matter what species you are, in an uplifting way. So it is just like our presence on this planet at this time is so special. It's so important. And it's just, that's why we're here. It's, I mean, we're not like to learn and give and get, but that's why we're here. It's really special. So grateful.
Oh, well, Chris, this has been such an incredible conversation, like such a breath of fresh air. I know that we needed to connect, and I knew that you needed to share your messages with the world. So thank you so much. I hope that people at home got something from this and have a new appreciation for bees and also their products. Please tell us what your website is, and we'll be sure to also link it in the description of this video so people can check it out.
Oh, thank you so much, Liz. Yes, it's like I said, free shipping within the continent of the United States, although we do ship our raw, organic, highest frequency bee products all over the world. And the website is www.liquidgold.store, www.liquidgold.store. And then the Instagram is LiquidGoldHoney with 2 Y's on the end. And yeah, we're so grateful, and we're just, we're grateful for you, grateful for our mission, obviously grateful for the bees, grateful for everybody watching the video, either
Yeah.
live or on a recording, and just grateful to be on the planet at this time. Just like eternally grateful. Thank you so much, Liz.
Oh,
Sending you love,
amazing.
and all
Well,
our
thank
viewers love.
you.
Thank you.
Yes, please keep up the good work on your mission. Thank you
Thank
everyone
you.
for tuning in, and